Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745 here with my continuing playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8.6. Okay. We're still sort of plunging deep. Oh, they got a lot of Belgian destroyers right there. Oh, interesting. That I guess we have any radar here built yet? No. How much longer? Probably a long time because I'm impatient, yeah, to get those built. Okay, well, let's up the speed. Not too fast, but okay, we've won the Battle of Bergen. And we have another technology that's partisan suppression to level 2. So that is here? No, here. We're going to let that continue because we want to move it. So you see a lot of different units. Some of them are getting, a lot of SS, but a lot of non-SS too. We're getting pluses to their partisan suppression, which is very helpful. Let's see, you want to come here, to here, to here. Oh, not what we call operators, which really aren't that much of a combat unit, quite honestly. And we've lost that province, so now we've got units coming in behind. Okay, these guys can fall up to there, the Stug. Oh, I want to see what the terrain is more than just that. No. You come across and cut off. Movement, okay, you're moving forward, good. And the Soviet Union, what do they want? Oh yeah, we'll give you supplies. Okay, now that I'm looking up here, we've won that, good. Looking up here, we've got maxed out on supplies, so we are massively overproducing supplies. We've got more than enough. I still want a slightly positive production, but that will massively move, what about almost 60 ICs to here, so that'll be good. Oh, yeah. I really got pissed before making this episode. See this here? This is, and it's not really something that you should have a warning about. This is one of the HQs that was removed for upgrading to more historical ones. Well, since this battle commander was part of the HQ, but that I put there, but wasn't part of the OOB, when all the rest was removed, this is now considered the HQ, and I can't transfer this battalion, this battle commander, to anywhere else. So I could keep it as a battle, as a HQ and try to attach support units to it. Could try that, but I don't necessarily want to do it. I might want to move it to somewhere else, or I might want to attach that to a division. Now, so long as you have a proper HQ at the top of the list, you can remove the other things. Well, this also happened to a unit that had this Storm Pioneer Battalion 43 attached to it. So I deleted that, and then I, through the console, went and looked, and I could fire it without any real cost. I should have had a long build time, but I changed that. You know, it would be to just magically reappear. And I'm going to make a similar thing to magically give me Edward von Kleist as a battle commander, just not before this episode. We're gonna do this. So hopefully not. Panzer Group A Kleist will disappear. Hopefully not. And so I can add this motorized engineer group, which will really help this as a now much better division for particularly crossing rivers and whatnot. Speed that up. Now here, I was going to attach it here, so let's do this. Go and attach this here, and shift, select, and hopefully this one won't disappear on me. Yeah, it doesn't have equal level of experience that I worked up and whatnot for it, but whatever. So I went and did that. Okay, keep moving forward. And it just, quite honestly, really more of a game mechanic problem. But if I had a bit of a warning or whatever, and if I had realized it before I'd made several episodes and have to go back and replay a whole lot, I would have removed it from the order of battle of the HQ beforehand, which would have been easier. So keep that in mind when you're given an option and it says, this will remove a... oh, the French have joined the operation up here. That's probably the event element that the French and the British moved to secure Narvik. Elements thereof. Okay, well, let's see about you. No, these guys come in here, so let's go there. We're just going to move there. Looks like they have beaten them, but that's a pretty good mountain division. Now encountering the Greek army and defeating it, it looks like. Peru, what do you want? Do we give them supplies for money? Okay. I just don't want to ship anything back from Peru. Okay, well, let's see. They're attacking there. Move into those hills. No, come down this way. And we won that battle against that garrison unit. Good. These are coming fast and furious. Still, yeah, you know, we can talk about very, very true how bad the AI for Hearts of Iron 4 is, but this still shows you this thing. Why are they still, ooh, Romania, since it's on the Axis, it's a possible threat. Yes, and it is, and I could call it in any second. But you have an actual invasion happening here, and you should be shifting your forces to the capital as fast as possible. Okay, you come swinging around here, down the coast, hopefully cutting off their retreat. Yeah, you mainly just sit there and reduce partisan activity. Okay guys, come on through here. I really don't know how much I should be sending down here because once Greece is taken, sort of a dead end here. Some will be maybe, ooh, Special Forces branch upgrade. Well, nice. That is, no, that is here. And it's grayed out. Okay. We have some other attacks that may have also appeared. Oh, we've annexed Norway. Good. Conquer Norway. Now, let's take a quick look here. This is sort of the problem, which I know I definitely said conquer, but and I really can't control, and I know somebody was complaining about one game they played, I think they annexed Denmark, and then when they went back and tried it 2 or 3 other times, every time it was just occupy. I don't always know what really controls when it annexes and when it doesn't. So maybe some old hands know, but I don't really know. The problem that I don't like about this is this here has minimum revolt risk down on the bottom of those revolt risks, 2%. So I can't ever get it down to green. Now this isn't really bad. This isn't. It does affect revolt risks. It does affect some of these other, how effective some of these other buildings are in getting resources out. I sort of don't like it because it's not historical. I should have to occupy it. I should have to, you know, have this to manage it. Notice I did move Poland over to full, partially for historical reasons, partially just because I'm going to have so much occupation troops in there anyways. I just want to exploit it for resources. These others I'm doing military government. Military government is sort of the best balance between revolt risk and getting leadership and getting manpower and getting, you know, resources. If you're really resource starved, you can do fuller occupations, which will reduce the percentage trickling of manpower. Part of that is the effect that if it's a full occupation, it means you've got to, at a more local level, occupy everything. Not just have police to deal with partisans, but guards in every factory, guards everywhere, and they can't be sort of local paid flunky guards. They've got to pay German loyal guards because you're really sort of exploiting the situation, cutting people down to minimum rations and other sorts of things, even if they're working in controlled environments. So it reduces down your, you know, so that's, your manpower needs to be more, and plus there's fewer volunteers coming in from the locals, and that, and leadership, people are less willing to contribute to development of things if they're being heavily oppressed. So I like that better, unless we're looking at, we're going to do this. Let's see how much we have here. Oh, just barely any, but we'll do that there. So I don't like this. I wish it was under the occupation thing, because I think we're going to get too many benefits out of it, of by annexing. Now, when this, because we can look here and see, that's full German territory now. But like here, where they did functionally annex things, then I'm all for it. But that's sort of special cases. That's at least my viewpoint on a lot of this. Special cases are special. Okay, again, I want to see the terrain because it's mostly all open terrain. Okay, you join in the rush for Belgrade. You move north to move through some of this rougher territory to secure the flank. Now, I just want to take these two provinces, and then I want to do the create the Croatia thing. Just occupy that, and you guys can keep moving on the border here. Well, hopefully soon will be some events to help occupy Norway. Oh, and I understand why players very much might want to annex over occupy. And partially just because, like saying you get maybe too much of a bonus out of it. Don't blame people for that. Not at all. Sometimes I miss when traditional bonuses are removed for historical reasons myself, things that I'm used to expecting, Come on, take these last two provinces. Light armor designs have advanced. Well, good. That's grayed out. And okay, so we have more research available. Yeah, let's do heavy armor. We want to get tigers someday. Okay, and it's time to, because I don't want to have any building on the Putin and Berlikian Gorts. These I sort of want to maybe produce, getting ready to go after America, actual into production. Well, mentioning that we now have Norway. Let's see here. Let's Bergen. Let's build a radar station. That'll be useful. Up here, let's build a radar station. Don't know if there's an event giving us a airbase or anything, but let's give it an airbase up here as well, just to be able to support future operations against the Soviets. I think there are some events for the West Wall and other building things up here, but I just want to get some stuff building underway, and let's move all of that up to the top. The airbase should go quick, but the others I want to get going to help deal with problems out in around here. I'll let me do this for the moment. Okay. It's not really going to matter, so let's just move all of these over here. And then move that over. And then let's change the name. Even I'm just going to call it moat, even though it's really only a semi-motorized. Period. Moat. Motorized because it's mostly partially motorized. It's not a super fast division, but it's fairly cheap but fairly quick. Send that east. I'll have plenty of time to reorganize before I'm doing anything that aggressive where it's going to concern. Okay, well, let's see, we got those fighters. Let's see about doing 2 more submarines. Don't know that you can hear my fans on the computer, but it's rather warm where I am. I got air conditioning a bit, but it's not that good, so my computer thinks it's a bit too warm. But I also wonder, is it trying to do something else too? Well, I'm going to pause this and be right back. Okay, I'm back. I was just wondering if my antivirus or something was deciding to scan my computer or other sort of thing. I guess not, but just sort of wondered. Okay, and well, I'm sort of satisfied with the amount of bombers that I have overall. Still doing lots and lots of upgrades to things. But I want more naval bombers. And some more flying boats. Let's just do one of those. And I want some more long-range fighters. So there we go. That. And I know it's being greedy, but let's do one more of these. These things really help in supplying on the Eastern Front once we get there. Okay. Japan. What does Japan want? We give them money for it now. Not until we can go through the Suez Canal fairly safely. Let's do this now. Oh, we've got 2. SS Kirkness. Kirkness. There's a Scottish town that's sort of like that, but it's okay. And we want to create Croatia. Yes, we want to release Puppet Croatia. It only creates this little rump right now, which obviously means we don't get the resources there, but and it also means we should move you out, and you out, and you out, so that you can be effectively reducing partisans outside that. And here we have our SS Garrison up here. Though, other than stopping invasions, he's doing no good. Not that stopping invasions isn't a good thing, but I don't think anything is really prepared to invade. Oh, Sweden is mobilizing. Okay, what? Worrying about us? Well, yeah, I doesn't know it, but I'm at least not planning anything when it comes to them. If they were to join the Allies or something, I would go after them. Upgrade the 2nd Panzer Division. Especially when it says upgrade, I'm always worried because it's going to pull the unit from the front. Light infantry branch upgrade. Okay. That's here, and we're over. So I'm going to wait till we're done with our Greek conquest, I think. Okay, you guys. Okay, you come and help here. Move along the coast. Move into the coast a little bit. It's already got guys going to Dubrovnik. Yeah, there we go. Join that attack. As you can see, we're... Well, now as you can't see because we just have the thing popped up in front of us. We're plunging pretty deep into Yugoslavia. Okay, Guderian, you get in on that battle. Gross Deutschland, this is where you go afterwards if you win. That should turn it green. Yeah, there we go. Really wish I could have them maybe about half the size that they currently are. Like I was playing Hearts of Iron 4, I wish something would hit me over the head when, we get a naval invasion or whatever, and the little things that are up top aren't enough to alert me to stuff like that. So I'll give you to... Okay. Keep moving down, keep moving along. You guys, yeah, we'll strategically redeploy you, put you on the trains, because we need the mountain troops. Well, I don't know if we need them, but they're useful in invading Greece. I think we could smash and do it with panzers, but might as well. Have them down where they're designed to be. Fighter pilot training. Excuse me. Haven't really been thinking about that much recently. Obviously, I've been researching other things, but let's keep that going. I hope I'm switching around between different map types enough, because I know at least a few people have commented, and I do quite believe it's a real issue. Color blindness and trying to figure out what's going on. Others, it's just sometimes trying to follow along with what I'm doing can be confusing even without that. Like now I just want the sort of ugly map but clear map for me in terrain. Okay, Sweden. Give them money for metal. Okay, we can do that. The Croatian army is mobilizing. Oh boy. Yes, if they were actually worried about an invasion, it would probably be a good idea, but it's just a little bit, because we are still sort of maxed out up there. Just a little more. There, and some more research. Well, let's see about doing nav pilot training. Yeah, bye. And upgrade Leibstandart SS Adolf Hitler. Not until the Greek campaign is done. Okay, well you guys come to here, to here, to here, to here, and to here, and to there. That's your route of march. Okay. Oh, let's come up and look here. Is this one problem? Been having my air power bombard this and hopefully getting more and more experience as they're slowly destroying it now. How are these guys? Well, they're gonna fight to the death too, because it's taking time. Well, might as well move you into the fight as well, just to get the experience, the grinding up. And yes, we're just, oh, we moved to sort of more of a yellow. Well, yeah, because okay, a little better. Minimum revolt risk. Haven't had any revolts pop up here, though I could use a little better control. Okay, submarine crew training has improved. Good. That would be here, I believe. Okay. I know a few episodes ago, I don't remember exactly how many, I was talking about the ideal game that I was developing in my head even before I found Hearts of Iron. And I was talking about training schools and like basic Kriegsmarine, you know, turn out basic soldiers and stuff like that. And so this is something that, you know, I sort of kind of think that I like the, trust me, I like the idea of being able to shift focus, okay? You know, to go from Army land focus to go to naval focus to do whatever. So I like a shiftable element, but I also sort of want, I know I'm talking to you about this and it's never going to happen, but it's on my mind. I sort of want the idea that there was a certain amount of leadership, if you will, that was a fixed element, sort of like, you know, like in Hearts of Iron 4, the idea that shipyards can only turn out ships. Some of the leadership, and it's not just slots for research. You know, that's an element of it. and it can just be the amount, but I also like the idea that it can get bigger as like Germany grows, and it's a bit more like this, but it may not be diplomacy elements shift away from research elements. It, may not be quite as spongy as this is, and all of this I'm talking about it is to sort of like have a certain amount of stuff that is purely officer type training things that you get to spend in the Navy, and it may be based on like the number of schools and the number of whatever else. Now there is, like I say, a fungible or a spongible or whatever you want to call it, amount that you can shift around between the Air Force, the Army, Navy, technical, because a lot of these, better artillery is more of a technical thing as opposed to a doctrine thing. So that, so if you had X number of schools, it provides a certain amount of naval leadership that can only be done in naval. And it might not be enough. The U.S. may have enough to, be researching all of these all the time, but Germany would have to choose between, are we going to do carrier crew training or we're going to do submarine crew training? There's still a certain amount. You can't do everything all at once, be maxed out at everything all at once, but it's sort of along my ideas of school and turning out, not just turning out number of, the submarine crew training is more than just naval crew. It's an elite force in the sense of, at least at minimum, it's elite of having to need to be volunteers, because it takes a lot to go down and do that, and two, a lot more training. It's not necessarily a selection elite course like for commandos that you got to be super strong or super mentally tough. No, you just got to be willing to go and take the harsh life of it. Realize that you're going to be depth charged and you're going to go out to sea for however many months, and you're not going to bathe at all, and none of the people on board are going to bathe, and everything's going to smell of diesel oil and human sweat and stuff, and it's just going to be awful for all. And just even if you're not depth charged, it's just not going to be pleasant. Going out on a destroyer, much nicer. Trust me, it's much nicer than being on a World War II submarine for any length of time, not just a day trip. So let's do radar training. And so, yeah, so some of the idea for the schools would be to turn out X numbers of crew, but some of it would be how much leadership for quality of crew training as well. Not all training is equal, okay? Army HQs have advanced. Well, great. Let's take a quick look at that under command here. And Army HQs are still at 39, so we're going to let that go because as you can look down, delay between attacks reduced 12 hours. I believe here it's 8 hours or something. So, okay, now excellent. Now we get the strategic effect of Swedish iron for Germany. Well, like I've said before, it's not really Swedish iron so much. It's partially that. It's the iron, but it's the steel that's coming that is super high quality. So we improve relations a lot. We get an effect. Becker upgrade. Okay, that division is going somewhere, so nothing special is attached to it. And we lose this. Standard 16. We'll have the well, what do you call it? Other units coming eventually. And Norwegian electricity. Establishment of the German-Norwegian Association for the expansion of electricity in Norway. The leadership of Joseph Terboven, that's that guy there, and there he is there in the middle, to ensure the supply of the German Reich. I don't know if they were able to put wires and go under the ocean at the time. I just don't know. But there was a bit of conflict between Terboven and the guy in black here Quisling. But yep. So, but we'll get industrial capacity in Trondheim level 1. Gain energy, industrial production, yes, good. We want to do that. Cost us some supplies to build all that. Swiss SS volunteers, yes. Now see, this is not the division. This we just gain a little bit of manpower here, but that I talked about that you get if you invade Switzerland. Support of the family. Number of marriage, loans, and child support in the German Reich granted since 1933 has exceeded 1 billion Reichsmarks according to official data. So there has been a very big push for marriages and births. Now, this is only after Germany or Nazis really get in power, and basically this doesn't really help with the war because, well, in 1943 they'd just be 10 years old, you know, the youngest, or so, maybe even just 9 years old. But this really would have helped had things been delayed about starting the war by about 10 years. You would have had a huge boost of manpower for Germany had they delayed the war and had done this. But we like the popularity, which reduces down. Send the Ordnungspolizei to Norway. Yay. I was waiting for that. There we go. Let's give it a leader. I think I may have one that's cold weather. Let's see if I can quickly scan that. No. Now for me, why I would give one a cold weather specialty, just because if I knew his service record that he served in Norway, so he may have not been a cold weather specialist, but you know. I'm not absolutely sure whether something like the cold weather trait trickles down. Here we are. See this guy here. I hope it does, but I'm far from sure that it does. Unfortunately, we can't connect him to the Ordnungspolizei headquarters because maxed out, so we'll just straight to the... Now, because we've annexed and not occupied, we don't get any... this is not very useful. It doesn't reduce our revolt risk, and it's of limited defensive value. It's some defensive value, but limited. Probably if you're being economical, it would be better to ship all those troops somewhere, all those policemen somewhere else. Well, we might want to keep him moving forward, just because we don't want him to get out of touch with his troops. And similarly, okay. Well, let's come over here and flank attack there. You drive through the mountains, even though I know you're not mountain troopers, but you're there. So attack. Bulgaria. Energy, sure, you may have lots and lots of energy. I've got unlimited amounts of energy. Well, sort of functionally I do within the game normal parameters. Oh, okay. Swedish steel effects, and that now gives us plenty of steel. Great, costs us money that we're buying it, but okay. Okay. I think this is a, I'm pretty sure it is, a fantasy badge, and that just makes me cringe and hate this photo. Um, those very well may be SS paratroopers. I'm not sure on that. With the photo. Just don't know. But that, I believe, is a fantasy badge, and that just makes me cringe all over. Either do it historical or don't do it. It's one thing to edit out if you're worried about editing out symbols. That's fine, whatever. But don't do this. Okay, declaration by the Soviet government. The official Soviet news agency TASS declared that the Soviet government did not feel threatened by German occupation of Norway. So we improve relations and lose some dissent because our populace is not worried about it. See, this big tank here they use these sort of big tanks as occupation tanks up in Norway as sort of propaganda. And this is here Turboven becomes the Reichskommissar for Norwegian. So we're going to send him. This doesn't really have an effect. This is just start of an event series that will have some effects. Ooh, what's this? Oh yes. Okay. I talked a little bit about this in the alt series, so I won't go into too much detail, though maybe I should. I don't know. This caused a massive amount of dissent in Germany. The government claimed that this was to keep children away from bombing. The real focus was, not that they didn't care about that, they did care about that, but the real focus, the primary focus, was to get the children away from the parents so that they can be raised in National Socialism. More so than just being a member of the Hitler Youth or the BDM for the girls. It was very much they wanted to remodify these children. And I say that in a way they wanted to destroy any belief in Christianity, and not necessarily, and I want to say this the way, not necessarily that they had signs up and says Christians bad or whatever, but they just really wanted to undermine the belief system without maybe ever mentioning, and I don't think, because I've never really, because I can't read German, looked at their doctrine, but I've read about it from other people, and they just talked about the goals and objectives without going into too much into the propaganda, if you will. But it's mostly the idea that it's just undermine the value system. So it's not saying anything bad about Christianity, but it just giving children the National Socialist value system, which is different. And parents really hated this. They hated the kids being forced away, even with the bombing. So this is a very big dissent element within Germany in the war and population. And this is another Fuhrer bunker down here. It's a train tunnel that I know I talked about it before. So no, we're not going to build it. I'm going to take the hit for a little while because we're not invading it. Yes, we want the Norwegian military. Now this is more useful in the Pullet side because we will there will be occupation troops help defend it. Okay, adopt this Wehrkrest system to wartime. German military districts. Okay. So surprised this didn't already fire, but lose some manpower because we're going to gain some units, I presume. Supplies, that's fine. Officers again because they're gaining units. Until basically the end of time, or 1948, 1.5% of ICs. Yeah, okay, but we get, notice that regain rate of plus 5% land organization. So yeah, we'll do that. Turn manpower pool from building airfields in Poland. Now I want to come up here. Let's see, that's up there. That's now here, then it's sort of motorized, so let's send it back east here. Not that it wouldn't be useful in Yugoslavia, but I don't think we'd get it there in time. Okay, so let's find the commander for it. Here, this is the one I think I want to use because he has Winter Specialist. Again, I hope, though I don't know, that it does trickle down. I'm going to attach him to sort of internal defense. Where is this regiment? Okay, well, he has a militia regiment sort of for himself, so we're going to move you out to Bergen, I guess, to keep the nasty allies from invading there. Okay, that's good. Oh, fine. Oh, create the 7th Panzer Division from the 2nd Lick Division. Finally, I've been waiting for the 7th Panzer Division to show up and give Rommel the division. It should have showed up a long time ago. Don't know why it didn't fire. But I don't know that I care about the second Lick. It may be part of the invasion, probably is, but I don't want it to disappear. So, upgrade, so we're going to lose all those. Don't know what to do. Yeah, let's pop it up top. And Liebstendarta in the 2nd Panzer Division, we're not giving up at the moment. I hope you're having fun with this series, because I'm definitely having fun. So like I said before, still haven't finished, so I don't know what the outcome's going to be. I've liked my experiment of invading the Soviet Union early, but to me it is sort of just an experiment to see how it goes. And quite honestly, I don't like it as well as this, because like I say, this is sort of... Oh, you're still defending, okay. But it's fun to see how it's been worked out, or how it's working out, because I do like doing that. But it's not sort of, if you will, I don't know, the core reason why I play this game, you know, why I got involved in this game. I don't mean just this series, I mean Hearts of Iron 4. Oh, there we go, that, we're going to stop that, because that's left over from the Lick Division. So that's where it was, okay. Well, we're going to, no leader. And, oh. Well, okay. Hope this works well. Spoils of war. When we finish Yugoslavia, we could seize their fleet. Yes, we hope so. Spoils of war again. We hope. I guess this doesn't. Because I was worried this happening. Greek firing too fast. We hope so. Wartime role of the Reich Arbeiter der Weiblichen Jugend. The women's group. Okay. So, yes. As time goes on, before the war, it was a voluntary thing for women. Once the war gets going, and maybe about this time, it becomes basically a draft of women. Okay, Hitler meets secretly with Mussolini at the Brenner Pass. I've had trouble researching all the meetings of Hitler and Mussolini. I thought I could have found one book easily, or one thing that had it all there that I could look through, and some stuff was dated. Some of these things were dated the wrong year in several sources, so so we can meet with him and we improve relations and some money we don't need. We're going to do so. I think it will lead to other good things. Get out of there. Get out of there. We lost a province, but we're moving ahead. No stop. Okay. First aid advanced. Okay, good. I think that's one that we need to stop. Yes. Then we now have additional leadership for things. Basing that I think will help supply. Run supplies through bases. Okay, yes, we want to activate SS motorized infantry. Occupy the Channel Islands. Okay. Reconnaissance pilot Hauptmann Lieb Pretzleril. Sorry, I'm butchering these things. Made a test landing at Jersey's deserted airfield on June 30th, obviously well after June 30th. To determine the level of defense, he reported his brief landing to Luftflotte 3, who came to the decision that the islands were not defended. A platoon of Luftwaffe soldiers were flown in that evening to Jersey by Junkers transport planes. Okay, we can proceed with this. Lose manpower, but we take control of these islands, which are currently British or rebel controlled right now. I guess we're going to proceed. I think this may give us some other interesting events. I don't know. Germany really did fortify the islands. Now they're ours, yes, okay. And infrastructure level 1, I guess we can't even go there, but okay. Inflation in occupied France. One of the most interesting German innovations in the war was the development of special banks to follow the invasion of invading German army. These banks, the so-called Reich Credit Klassen, right, credit offices, were introduced in the Polish campaign and gave out Reich Credit Klassen, well, treasury notes, okay, or RKKs, as a military currency used in German occupied countries during World War II. These notes were legal tender only in the country in which they were issued and were not negotiable in other occupied territories or the Reich. The rate of exchange between the RKK Sheen and the currency of the occupied country was fixed by the occupation authorities immediately after entry of the army. The local banks were required to accept the notes as at the official rate. The exchange rate was sent to the advantage of the occupiers. The banknotes would then return to the RKK as to a German bank, but would not get anything in return. Oh, that's good. It could either raise the local currency, it could either raise its local currency or print it, but would effectively finance the occupation costs. The RKKs were finally returned to the soldiery and used again and again and again. The RKKs were designed to place the entire burden of the occupation on the country in which they were issued. The costs would spread out among the population of the occupied territory. There is no evidence of dispossession and no one was hit directly. I don't know that that would be quite true, but okay. The German soldiers took a lot, but were notable for paying for everything. In the end, though, they made others pay for them. Because, well, the system was paid because, if they showed up and go, hey, there's, a bunch of cows there and we need to, buy them to feed our soldiers or something, and, go, oh, and they're worth, $1,000 or whatever a piece, and that may be a fair price for them. Maybe, I don't know, but, and I don't know if they would be giving fair prices, but turn that over to the guy, forced to pay for them. And then, yeah, sure, he may be able to go to his local bank and go, hey, I got this money, is it worth anything? He may be able to, give it to the bank and for local currency or whatever, but it hits somebody, and it may be spread out, but it hits people, trust me. The RKKs, most countries were stopped after some time. Local currency was used instead. Only in wealthy France were the RKKs used until the end of 43, when the inflated franc became too unstable. Okay. So, northern France inflation, revolt risk by +2. And Western France, local revolt risk money. Ooh, this could be. Okay. I may have to go in and edit this afterwards. Because this is, I think that money in, I think that 45 and 45% will stack, and I think it's going to rip the guts out of this. I don't dislike the idea of the revolt risk. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's just regional. I don't know. Okay. Okay, so now this is foreign aid and air bases mod that I made. I first wanted to, stick an airbase somewhere, and I can't build in allied territories. So I can't build, as Germany, an airbase in, in Italian-held territories. So that sort of pissed me off, and you can't do that. So what I did is I made a bunch of these things that are sort of generic that you got to pay for. I don't know how well they're balanced. I think reasonably, which includes air, as you can see there. Or you can not do it. Don't want to support it. Some of the stuff was coming into like Afghanistan and going, there's no air bases. I can't even send any air power. Partially because I know they sent air power, Germany did, to support the Iraqi revolt. But, I can't send air power there, and there was like no air base there. I think there's some air base somewhere in Iran, but that's sort of what originally prompted it. And so, under the right conditions, Germany has these events to build a air base in some places, and you don't get to pick the spot. It's already done for you. I guess it's here that I went and looked. So you can do it or not do it. There's no penalty in not doing it, but I think this only will fire once. So yes, we want to do that. Airbase level 2, radar station level 3, because you can't build anymore, and so it's sort of, yes, insta build, and anti-aircraft level 1. So we're sending some anti-aircraft guns down there. So boom. Now we have an airbase right up there. Vichy French can use it. We can use it. The Italians can use it. Whoever, obviously, and if it's captured by the enemy, they can use it. Okay, do you want to mobilize the 11th wave HQ's veteran? Yep, we'll take those, I guess. And let's take a look at those. Are they all in Berlin? Yeah, probably. Come on. Okay, they're just... So since these are veteran HQs, they may be better than the other ones. I can look at this. No, putting on the wrong button. Let's move them over to here. Well, so am I seeing something new here? Yes, okay, this is part of this. Adopting this to the warfare. So what I want to do is add this to there, is sort of how I look at that. And this gives around regionally, and again, you can use them however you want, obviously, but these are fairly poor garrison. These are different, and these existed alongside these other units that I've moved most of them out to the coast here. These other sort of home divisions as well. These other ones were a different sort of thing, similar in a way, but but different. So, and there's a bunch of them. And if you detach them, you can never return them because there are just too many. So, do what you will. It's probably good to put somebody in there who reduces supply usage, because if you're doing reasonably well in the game, you're not going to be using these guys much. You know, obviously this is sitting here. I might move a few to some coastal places as defensive formations, and really sort of what they are is normal functioning is that these are the training elements that are training recruits in artillery use, in anti-aircraft units, in, you know, basic combat units. That's why they're malicious, because these are only partially trained troops. But if, oops, there's an emergency, they can be used. See, when Germany occupied Vichy France, I've read a little bit about it, and I mean that by just a little bit. Basically, they around outside in the occupied zones went around and literally just, then they had sort of a plan beforehand. Somebody had drawn up a plan, so they knew what to do. But it was like, and this was like in an SS building, not a Waffen SS, just like your local sort of SS higher police type thing. They said, okay, everybody, go arm yourself and show back up here in like 10 minutes, you know, out in front of the building or whatever it was. And, you know, so go get a rifle or whatever, and go get your whatever to sort of your, you know, backpack type gear. You know, and these guys are office clerks basically, you know, the description of these people. And so they got all this stuff, and they didn't even, the basic guys didn't know what was really going on until, okay, and so they all scrambled and got that way. And then they were formed up, and they used these just whatever the hell type troops that were around. And that was sort of the plan. It was just, you know, Kriegsmarine type guys from Bordeaux. Obviously this is the big sort of Italian base, but I'm sure that there were, whatever. And these were, you know, put in local civil type trucks and raced into Vichy territory, partially some of the units to try to capture the fleet that was down here, but also just to occupy and disarm the French forces as quickly and as fast as possible. So they did use these types of things as sort of emergency rush to do. Also, like I've explained earlier, that the SA were continuing to be used often for internal security. And oh, hey, a bomber landed and parachutes were seen or something, you know, in an enemy bomber landed. Let's go search the woods, go search wherever, you know, go try to find the downed pilots. As well as, I'm sure, if there were downed, you know, Luftwaffe pilots, go look for the downed plane to see if the pilot got out, to see whatever. They were used as internal security, I'm absolutely sure, without having read in anything. These guys would have been, you know, if there's something happened locally, they would have been used. And as Germany becomes more and more assaulted, these units may have been used as combat formations, or just simply broken up as manpower and relabeled, often relabeled into Sturm Division 55, you know, something grand, when they're really just half-trained recruits armed with whatever they had and sent off. So some of the later units that were formed up, or Fortress Division whatever, you know, that put out, they were often these types of things, just relabeled and sent out. So you can't easily, well, obviously if you wanted to relabel them and send them whatever, but that's sort of what they are. So this is sort of the home army, and I've been putting these guys into the home army because they're sort of occupational type troops too. Okay, well, this episode's gotten on probably a bit too long, so we're going to end it here. I want to thank everyone for watching. I want to thank everyone for liking, if you would, the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. And of course, post questions, comments, suggestions, ideas. I love hearing from you. See you next time for more Parts of